Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is Friday, October 20th, 2023. I'm Dave Weisberger. Welcome to This Week in Crypto, and we have a new format going forward. I'm joined here by
Jacob Tober
and Carl Savage.
And we're going to talk about the events of the week, the markets, etc. Now, this has been a really interesting week. It started Monday with a news story that caused Bitcoin to scream to 30,000 and then fall right back again to the 27,000, 800 range right afterwards. But was it foreshadowing? Well, it looks that way today. Because this week we've seen delinking. We've seen Bitcoin up about 10% week over week. S&P down 2.5% week over week. Gold, it's up 7% in the last 2 weeks, but it's been definitely in an uptrend. And oil up about 2%. And the story that everybody's talking about is obviously geopolitics. So, Carl, I mean, you've been talking to a lot of clients. A lot of people are concerned out there. I mean, what do you think's going on?
Well, I think it's really interesting how Bitcoin has reacted to the international conflicts, right, that we've seen. Obviously, a lot of global uncertainty when it comes to what's going on in the Middle East right now. And, we look at what's going on with gold. People are obviously bullish on gold right now. And when economic uncertainty arises, we see the asset classes like gold, like oil, and, now Bitcoin have really rallied. And so I think that's really interesting to see Bitcoin fall into this asset class like gold, where people are starting to put their money in when they're finding economical uncertainty in the rest of the world.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, you get graybeards like me saying it, but when you get Larry Fink, talking about it, I mean, you get somebody who, I could say it, but who really cares? Larry Fink has what? Multiple trillions of dollars of AUM.
A few more than you. Yeah.
A few more than I do. And, when he says, well, Bitcoin is a hedge against global instability, that kind of means something. And I think that we've seen a lot of that, but it's the way that it happened that really, kind of got there. And in this week was fascinating. I was on a live stream with Scott Melker on Monday when the Cointelegraph fake news story came out, and we're watching it. And I'm scratching my head saying, Scott, they wouldn't approve BlackRock first, because there's the Grayscale case and all these others. They're going to approve them en masse when it happens. So we didn't really know what was going on, but we watched it go crazy. So, what do you think? I mean, you're watching this and you're talking with clients about it, and I think a lot of people were unnerved.
Yeah, well, I was talking to clients about the main point I always tried to bring across was look at the news source it got released on.
Mm-hmm.
It was a crypto-centric news source that if you look at more traditional finance side of things, those people don't necessarily trust all these articles. Obviously, the people writing these articles have personal agendas, most likely with their own crypto portfolios, right?
Mm-hmm.
People will doubt news sources that are crypto-based.
I heard it was an intern that released the story.
Yeah.
I mean, the funniest part,
he got fired.
The funniest part about the whole thing, though, is anyone who says it's meaningless. Well, look, this is one of my best weeks in prognostications ever, because after it happened, I said, listen, this is foreshadowing. Being short was just proven to be really dangerous, because if you're shorting Bitcoin, a news story comes out like that, you don't get a chance to cover. You're down 10% like that. And so everybody who was shorting basically learned, okay, once they covered their short, the longs didn't materialize and it came right back down. Mm-hmm. But are people going to re-short again? And the answer is probably not. So what does that mean? Well, that means less liquidity selling. Mm-hmm. And with less liquidity selling, what happened last night?
Yeah, retrace the whole move.
That's right. And now we're back at 29.5, mm-hmm. which is more or less where it looked like it was going to stabilize when the news first came out, before it was decried as fake. So mm-hmm. it's really interesting on that. Now, there's two reasons why, of course. Reason why, number one, we've seen pundits, everyone from Mike Novogratz to multiple others. I was on a crypto town hall with Matt Hugin from Bitwise. Lots of people in this industry, they all basically now are at the 95% level that it will happen. When? Who knows? Maybe January, maybe November, maybe over the weekend. Who knows? But probably, later than that.
Can you imagine what's going to happen once it actually, does get approved? I mean, this is all on the speculation that it did get approved, right? I mean, people who are shorting are getting absolutely destroyed, and that wasn't even real, right?
I mean, it's like picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. It's just
imagine
people aren't going to want to short.
Story. Yeah.
The question is, though, what news source do you guys think is most credible, where when they release it, it's taken as a fact and it's taken by everyone in the traditional side of things as certainty?
I almost hate to answer this question, but the answer is when the SEC website says so.
Yeah. Oh,
right? When
Yeah,
when
I don't trust them.
a confirmed SEC spokesman says it, it's
Yeah.
done.
Mhm.
And frankly, Gensler even said that this week. He said the only people to listen to is the SEC. It's like, okay, well, self-serving it might be, but he's not wrong, right? That's the only thing that's going to make me certain of it. I think
Yeah.
if Larry Fink said, "Hey, we were approved," or if whoever the spokesperson for Fidelity, I don't think Abigail Johnson's going to do it.
Mhm.
It's for Fidelity, or Matt Hoogan, or one of the guys from Bitwise, or the people who I know from Grayscale. I mean, some people are going to talk about it, but I do think you're going to see it from the SEC.
Yeah.
Also in the SEC, the news this week with XRP.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's overblown. Basically, what they did is they said, Brad and Chris Larson, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, you're off the hook. We're done. We're going to settle with you. We don't want to keep prosecuting you. But they did not give up their right to prosecute Ripple, the corporation. They really didn't want the Torres doctrine to, be allowed to run its course. What she said, basically, for people who don't know, is that an investment contract, even if the asset itself isn't a security, could still happen if you are funding your enterprise directly to individuals by convincing them that your enterprise is going to create more value for that asset. And that actually makes sense to me. And frankly, founders who did that probably should be looking over their shoulder, because it's probably a big problem. But as far as XRP is concerned, yeah, it's up a bit, but it's up no more than Bitcoin or Ether. I mean, it's in the same punching distance. I don't think it really matters. Maybe it compresses the time scale. But a lot of people, of course, go, oh, look, the SEC loses. How great that is. Who cares? We don't care about the SEC losing it. The crypto industry, what do we care about? We care about the crypto industry winning and real players moving forward. The other case that came out, which is another nothing burger, is DCG and Gemini being sued by the state attorney general of New York, which is a civil case. Do we really care? Not really. Did they commit fraud? I don't know. I'm not a criminal attorney. Did a lot of people lose a lot of money because of the idiotic risk management of Genesis? Yes. A lot of people lost a lot of money. A lot of our clients lost a lot of money, and that makes us mad, basically. Did Gemini misrepresent, what they knew? How do I know? Do we care? Their volumes are really low. Do we have any people who care? I don't think so. So the reality is, most of the people in the crypto industry want bad guys punished, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we want. We want good guys to succeed. And of course, we can't talk about the week without the ongoing heaps of shovelfuls of dirt being thrown on Sam Bankman-Fried with FTX. And I've always maintained that the best way to get a rally in a market is to show the bad guys doing the perp walk. So with luck, within a few weeks, he'll get sentenced. He'll be behind bars for a long period of time. And, look, there are lots of sources covering this. I think the bottom line is every week we've gotten revelations of direct involvement from him in effectively saying use customer monies for nefarious purposes.
What's the most surprising thing that they've put out so far in the court, in the trial?
I think the most surprising thing is how incredibly well documented Caroline Ellison had
the journal. Did you see the journal?
I've seen multiple pieces of coverage. I think Laura's Laura, the Unchained podcast, Laura Shin, I think she's done a fantastic job. There've been a lot of really good pieces on this. The fact is, we kind of know, and because look, I did a podcast with Sam, I know what he thinks, and he has lied, and I've called him a sociopath since this thing began. But the important thing is, it was lying and sociopathy. It was not anything that is necessarily intrinsic to crypto. It was intrinsic to his scam,
to his organization specifically,
what he wanted to do. He never forget, he tried to corner the market, and I don't just mean corner the price market. I mean, he tried to use customer funds to to donate to public officials in order to get a piece of legislation across that's now long dead, the DCCPA, which would have effectively banned DeFi and created a competitive moat around FTX. That's not a good thing, but well, whatever, it's going. So the last focus that I think we always want to do now is like what I'll call the client spotlight. And yes, it's a little advertising for CoinRoutes, but I think it's really interesting. I noticed something and this morning, when there was a rally going on, the big rally that took it from 28,000 up to 30, I noticed the CME futures looked to be trading at a larger premium. And so what's funny about that is I mentioned it to Carl this morning. And what did you get to tell me?
that we saw some of our clients using our spread algorithm, which allows you to trade two different instruments across different exchanges. And we saw them taking advantage of the arbitrage, right? With the CME futures trading at a premium, we saw, some pretty incredible opportunity there, and people were taking advantage of it using our spread algo. So,
and it was an amazing price difference in the two assets, and assuming the especially since the time value of those futures was non-existent since they expired Friday.
And people in the world of trading, I mean, everyone forgets the fact that arbitrage, was what we're talking about, is really important. Just to bring it back, all the people who've invested in the Bitcoin, futures-based ETF don't realize that when the futures gets out of whack with the spot, that could potentially end up costing them money if their ETF has to trade it.
Yeah.
But it's arbitrageurs that keep it in line. Well, that keeping it in line is sometimes not easy, because if you're a speculator and you're short and you see Bitcoin going crazy and you're only in the US and the only way you're trading is in the futures market, what are you going to do? You're going to buy it. And you're going to buy it because you got to get it bought because you have risk limits. And unfortunately, that makes premiums expand. So the good thing is we have sellers on the other side.
Yeah.
And of course, better for our clients because they get to actually make money in this. So, we're all part of the same ecosystem.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think that's it for now. Everyone have a great weekend out there. We'll be back next week with another edition. For now, stay safe and enjoy the ride.
Bye, guys. Till next time.